Good morning. So this one is called From Endarkenment into Enlightenment. And like many of my films, it's going to be very personal. And I just feel so grateful to be alive this morning, experiencing the light of the blue sky and the sunrise. I had an experience just over a week ago of doing something that I used to do a huge amount of, which is visiting other people. And due to all the bollocks that's been going, I've been doing very little of this, so it's been quite something for me to experience visiting someone as a real rarity. And my timing couldn't have been more significant because the person I went to visit was going through a very profound period of endarkenment. And I've also been aware that I've been going through my own endarkenment, and of course, like a lot of us, like more and more of us, I'm aware that many people all over the world are going through a very profound time of endarkenment. And this film is called Endarkenment to Enlightenment because that's really been my journey, and I know that it's the journey of many others too. So it's hard to say where this all began, but I'm going to pick up yesterday morning early whilst it's still dark, and I had two dreams, one after the other. In each dream I was with a group of people, definitely more than 6, and in the first dream there were 2 shamans in this group of people, and they introduced themselves to me and informed me that they would be officiating at my healing process, and I was very interested, very grateful, excited. And that dream came to its conclusion, and the next thing I knew I was in another dream, and I was with a group of people again, in a room in each dream, definitely a room, and it did not feel like it was on the ground floor as well. That's also significant too. And in this dream, just like the previous one, more than 6 people, I'm introduced to 2 shamans, and the first one is a man and the second one is emphatically a woman. I'm given her name, which is 2 names, the first and the second name is a name which relates very strongly to the sea, and I can picture her face very vividly as I am re-experiencing this dream. And at a certain point I was given instructions of something to do, and it was to say a prayer, and to say the prayer at each of the walls in the room. And it wasn't an exact rectangular or square room, there were more faces than that, so I had to do it more than 4 times. In fact, I think it was 6 times I had to say this prayer. And I woke up out of those 2 dreams and I felt this is a real breakthrough. Here I am, dreaming twice, in each dream 2 shamans, and it's my turn to experience this healing. So, very grateful indeed. Now, something has happened before these 2 dreams, but it wasn't until last night, on my way to a ceremony with 2 people, that I discovered how these events connect. So I'm going to speak about a very good friend of mine called Anthony, and he sent me a message just under 2 weeks ago, and it had the name of a plant, and that was it. And I didn't think any more of it. I was very much immersed in my experiences and feelings of being with this good friend who was going through his endarkenment process and all the shock and the distress that brought up. So it was a matter of I wasn't ready. But then a few days before this series of 2 dreams, I was contacted again, and it was actually, we had a phone call, and he suggested to me strongly that I work with 2 plants. And so the day before the dream, the 2 dreams, the 2 shamans, I actually find myself doing exactly what he recommends, and I'm working with these 2 plants, and they come in powder form, and I am required to mix a tiny amount of water with each powder and roll the resulting mixture into a couple of little balls the size of a pea. And so that's what I do. So the day before the 2 dreams, the 2 shamans, that's what I'm making these 2 little balls which are green, these 2 other little balls which are yellow, and having made them I pop them into my mouth. And that is the beginning of this extraordinary journey which I am now on. And it was only last night on my way to the ceremony that I realized the 2 shamans in the 2 dreams of 2 shamans is actually the message to tell me that these 2 plant spirits I'm working with are the 2 shamans I'm experiencing the healing from. And one of these plant spirits is definitely got a male energy, and the other one's definitely got a female energy. And I'm on day 3, so I'm up early this morning, and I'm going to mix minute quantities of these 2 plant spirits, which are in powder form, with water to make these 2 little balls the size of a pea, and I'm going to swallow them with water, and then I'm not going to be eating anything for a while. At first I thought it was for half an hour, but actually it's for a couple of hours, and that suits me fine. I don't like to eat first thing in the morning. In fact, my general pattern I've always preferred, particularly if I'm not influenced by anybody else, is I'll get up and do things for 2 hours, and then it's like, yes, now it's time to eat. So I'm going to be doing the same thing again today, and my partner's going to join me with this experience today. So I'm going to be making 4 little balls yellow, 4 little balls green, and having them each. So the yellow medicine and the green medicine is what I could also call this. So the person who recommended this to me has been doing this for 2 weeks and has noticed some enormous improvements in health. Now, something I've been struggling with for a long time, but particularly since I started going through my endarkenment time, big time, and that really was watching my mother's disintegration and death. That's really what brought that on big time. And then straight out of that, within days, to the first of the so-called lockdowns last year in March. Everything else that's followed, and particularly through this winter time, I've been noticing that I've been sleeping a lot, and sometimes I'll go to bed and it's like I'm finally getting out of bed 12 hours later. And now this is something I do want to share. It's very personal, which is that I started with an illness which was my shamanic illness, which was really my proper induction into shamanism in 1990. And in 1990 I came down with what appeared to be a flu-like illness, and it was a 10-year journey, and it's known as ME, myalgic encephalomyelitis to some. To others it's known as chronic fatigue syndrome. It's all the same thing. And I've definitely had a resurgence of that this winter. And one of the key notes of that illness for me, apart from the issues with memory and concentration and the issues with energy, has been waking up every day feeling like I'm surfacing from having been in very deep water, and it normally takes me a very long time to come to the surface of consciousness and to wake up. And when I do so, I feel very, very low energy, and it takes me quite some time to get going, frankly, and it's not easy. And it's like every day returning to 3D realms, it's been challenging, and I do it every day, and it's made no difference which habits I've had in terms of what else I'm doing with my life. That's been the universal constant until this morning, because I've had a real breakthrough. So I can feel my energy changing as a result of working with these two plant medicines. Now, I'm not going to be revealing what they are in detail or exactly how to go about working with these medicines until I've had more experience. So here I am, about to go and make these little green and yellow balls, and this is my day 3. So when I've done day 10, I'll be making a film, and I'll be going into the detail and explaining exactly why it is that these miraculous plant medicines are having such an effect on me. But what I notice immediately is I'm having an extraordinarily good detox, and when I go to the toilet, it's like, wow, that is a lot coming out. That is not just a normal going to the toilet experience. That's like a lot of toxicity is actually being expelled from my body, which means that the endarkenment is leaving my physical body, which means I am feeling so much better. And so I woke up this morning having gone to a ceremony last night, which didn't start until around 10 p.m. And normally by about 8 p.m, that's it, I'm done for. I'm just watching something on Netflix and going to bed around 10 because I'm just so tired. This has been the pattern throughout the whole of the winter. And it's like I was outside in nature with 2 wonderful people doing a ceremony which involves working with sound and working with prayer. And it's about people getting together, because this is what's happening all over the world. People are getting together. And it reminds me of this quote from the Bible: when 2 or 3 or more gather together in my name, that's when miracles happen. So it's not been a Christian ceremony I've been involved in. It comes from a much more ancient religion, and that's from the Hindu religion, which has the ability to boast a continuous practice of over 25,000 years. Now, I'm not aware of any religion other than Hinduism which actually goes back that far. Shamanism does go back a lot farther, and it is not a religion. And indeed, taking part in the ceremony, I was taking part in the ceremony as a devotee, as someone, as an outsider, having their first experience of this religion. And I was also working very much as a shaman, because we were working with the fire. So working with the spirit of the fire. And when it was my turn to do the dedication and the gratitude, it was to do with the dedication and the gratitude to the spirit of the fire. That's the little tiny piece I felt was appropriate for me to contribute. It was a truly extraordinary experience to be with 2 other people, so the power of 3 invoked immediately. And the 3 of us were celebrating life and the light and the return of the light to the world. And it has been so significant, and it was commented upon last night, that during all these, I like to call them lockups, when people are coerced into being locked up in their own homes, which has been going on since March 2020, on and off. When something as profound as that happens, it's very interesting to notice what's going on with the weather, and certainly what's been going on in the part of the world that I've been living in, is we've been having these extraordinary times of weather where we have seen so much of the spirit of the sun. Now, the country in which I live is renowned worldwide for being a country that's a bit of a stranger to the sun. We don't see that much of the sun, and when we do, we all rush out of the house and get very excited, and oh, it's wonderful, let's just be outside. The sun is shining. It's what I learnt when I was a child. My father used to burst in the room on the weekend if the sun was shining, and he would inform us in a loud, clear voice it was time to get up and get out and be in the sun. That was his message that I received as a child. Go and be in the sun. Well, last night I was out in the moonlight, and it was a half moon. Beautiful. Stars. Clear skies. And here I am in the daytime, and it's like, I cannot remember how many days we've had. So many days where I'm woken by the bright sunlight and the deep blue sky. And I am very much in awe of these beautiful flowers, the bluebells and the great hyacinths which are growing in the garden. So thank you very much for your presence, because for many months the front garden consists of these tiny little green leaves, and I had a feeling and knowing that something spectacular was going to happen, but I never realised that it would be full of bluebells and grape hyacinths, because I'm not used to bluebells growing in the open. Normally they only grow under cover of a good load of trees. That's my experience of bluebells, but somehow, miraculously, they survive and they thrive in this garden, so that's wonderful. So I'm looking forward very much to sharing with you how my journey progresses, but to wake up in the morning and to feel fully alive, not having to wade through layers and layers and layers of darkness to finally creep into the light, and to stagger around for the first hour until finally I'm fully functional, and to actually wake up and be fully alive and full of gratitude, and to start my day like that after so many years of not being able to do that. I'm talking about decades. Literally have experienced decades of not knowing what it's like to do this. I am just so grateful, and very, very grateful to Anthony for being the one who invited me to work with these two plant spirits. Very grateful for the friend who I went to visit just over a week ago, going through his endarkenment experience. Very, very grateful to the two plant spirits, which at the moment I'm going to call the yellow and the green, till I reveal their names. And I'll do so after 10 days of this practice, when I'll be able to speak so much more cogently. And so grateful to the two people that I had the privilege of being invited to share the ceremony with last night. So that's my story today. Thank you very much. And if you wish to, you're most welcome to like, comment, subscribe, activate notifications, and if you wish to, please look in the description for the PayPal email as an opportunity to make a donation in gratitude to the work that I am blessed to be able to do. So thank you.